Okay, so that wraps up our performance testing with the Asus P9X79 Deluxe. It turned out to be quite a good motherboard. It's got a lot of nice features, and as always, Asus has built in a lot of extra functionality into the board that's just really going to expand what it's capable of. It's important to remember that, according to Asus, the Deluxe series is actually just one step below the Republic of Gamers board. So what you're getting here is a product that's right there beneath an ROG board at a price that's not going to be in line with those ROG boards. Again, they're designed more for the enthusiasts. You're going to get your extreme overclocking, all of that. It's just going to roll into the board. So we took a look at it. We did find a few things that we were a little bit disappointed in. The first and foremost was during the driver install, we stumbled across the fact that Google Toolbar and Google Chrome are being installed under the driver profile. A little bit of bad form there. We don't consider either of those a driver, and we're sure that most of you don't consider that as well. Fortunately, when you do the install application, you can pick and choose what you want to install, which means that you're not going to run into that issue if you want to remove them. Just a heads up, so if you get this board and you start installing it, make sure that you choose to pick and choose the drivers that you want to install. One other item that we ran into, which is noteworthy and we want to make you aware of, is the cooling system. Although the cooling system is nice, it's well designed, and it does have some undersurface here that will pick up good airflow if you have it. When using a water cooling system, you do not have good airflow. That causes these to get rather hot and to build up some heat. Make sure your case has some good airflow so you can keep air moving across this. One of the things that you can do that will help out is to get a couple of RAM coolers. That's going to force some air down. It's going to push it across here, and it will keep this, in addition to your memory, much cooler. Moving forward, we found that the SSD caching wasn't as great as we expected. It does work. You are going to get a performance boost. Just make sure that the hard drives that you're using are going to be able to take advantage of it. We found that our Barracuda XTs didn't get much of a boost out of it. We went from 111 megabits per second to 117. That's not that great of a jump. It is going to give you a little bit more read access and perhaps a little bit more write access, but it's still not going to be something that you would want to write home about. Moving forward, if you want to get one of the newer drives, one of the 3 terabyte or 4 terabyte drives, then you're probably going to get a little bit better functionality out of it. The Barracuda XT, although still a good drive, it's not exactly current technology. So again, moving around to the back, we found that the USB boost is actually a great product. We were a little bit surprised to run into what we found. We found that using an external hard drive, of course the limitation was the 7200 RPM disk that was in there. That's going to have a limited amount of data transfer that it can do on its level. It's a 2.5-inch disk. That was our Seagate PS110. When we did put a Data Traveler Ultimate, which is a USB 3.0 flash drive, we also found that the performance gain wasn't that great. It was still there and it was visible, but again, it wasn't what we were looking at and what we talked about when we visited Asus at CES. It wasn't until we put in our HyperX USB flash drive, the 64 gig drive, that we saw just a massive jump. We went from around 260 megabits per second to 319. That is quite a bit of a performance leap. That puts that USB 3.0 drive in the same range as some of your SATA 6G drives, SSD drives. So that's a nice function. If you want to have something like that, you can now run that 64 gig drive almost at exactly the same speed as a native drive. Moving back, one of the things that we did like and we were very interested in is the Bluetooth Go and the Wi-Fi. This actually is a nice adapter, although we did find a couple of issues with it. When we first plugged it in, one of the problems that we ran into was it didn't want to recognize our video card. We would get to the Windows screen and then for some reason the video card wouldn't initialize. We found out that when we first plugged this in, something about this initializing caused the video driver to fail. It was a limited experience. We did a reload, we've done a couple of other installs, and we found that it was a one-time off issue, but it's something to be aware of. If you do plug this in and it turns out that you can't get video or your video card doesn't want to initialize, all you have to do is restart the board, boot into safe mode, uninstall your video card drivers. In our case it was ATI's Catalyst 12.1, and then go ahead and reinstall them once you get back to normal mode and everything will run perfectly. That was really the only glitch we ran into with this. It's a nice card, it fits, it's out of the way, it doesn't take up your PCIe 1X slot, and it just has a nice look to it. Again, we did try some of the Bluetooth Connect functions, and they were pretty snazzy as well. So that wraps it up for the Asus P9X79. It's a great board. It's a little bit high on the price, but in this case you really are going to get what you pay for.